And he just has an uncanny way to have 2 or 3 jaw-dropping plays during the course of a game. If he falls to me in the 3rd or 4th round, I'm definitely going quarterback with that pick. Welcome to Pigskin Passion TV, and it's your boy, the Black Mamba. Season number 2, episode number 63. And today is, or should I say tonight, is Saturday, August 24th. And guys, we back. We back for another one. In this episode, we are looking at my top 5 quarterbacks at the number 12 pick. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many of you guys have had your draft already, but my draft is fastly approaching. I got like 7 days and 22 hours the last time I checked before the draft happens on September the 1st. So trying to do all the number crunching and kind of get an idea of what players I want. So again, this week we're going to look at the top 5 quarterbacks on my list at the 12th pick. And I plan to pick a quarterback round 3, round 4. So I'm the number 12 pick, but it's a snake draft, so I'll have the first pick in the 4th round. So in the 3rd, 4th round, that's when I plan to pull the trigger on the quarterback, if I can get this one guy. So with that said, let's take a look at these quarterbacks, guys. And I think all of these quarterbacks on my list have high upside to be a number 1 quarterback throughout the year. And at number 5 for me is Kyler Murray. And guys, let's put an asterisk by his name, and I'll tell you why later in the video. But last season, Kyler ranked 6th in fantasy points per game over the last 9 games. And that's pretty good for somebody who had just had a ACL injury. He tore his ACL in December of 2022. And this year, he'll have the rookie phenomenon, Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw the ball to. And I think that's going to be a pretty nice 1-2 combo. I think he'll finish in quarterback 1 territory again this year. And last year, he was a top 12 finisher 4 out of the 8 games that he played. And when he came back, he was rushing the ball like he hadn't missed a beat. He was looking pretty good out there. And 3 out of 4 seasons he's played, he's been a top 10 finisher. And what makes Murray so valuable is his ability to be a dual threat. He's averaged over 30 yards rushing per game every season that he's been in the league. So with all of that, I like him as my number 5 pick. And at number 4, guys that I had the season before, I have special places in my heart for those guys. And with Anthony AR-15 Richardson, he's no different. I had him last year, and he went out with the season-ending shoulder injury. But before he went out, he was pretty dynamic. It was about a 4-game sample size, but I saw enough to know that he was going to be pretty special. In those 4 games, he finished top 5 in 2 of those games. So I think he has a very high ceiling. He was actually one of the guys that, I was actually just wanting to watch him play. He throws a pretty ball, and he's dynamic out there on the field. But he's kind of raw, but you can see all the talent coming out of him. And what makes me like AR even more is his O-line was pretty good. And even when they lost Richardson and had no Jonathan Taylor, they were still making it work with guys like Gardner Minshew and Zach Moss. And I think this year Richardson should be a little bit more polished in his 2nd season. And I think this could be one of the more exciting teams to watch play this year. So I like Anthony Richardson as my number 4. And my number 3 quarterback this year is Jordan Love. Jordan, the last year of the season, he was one of the most lethal quarterbacks in the league. And I know this because he almost cost me my fantasy championship. And in real life, he was just as dangerous. This team was one of the youngest teams last year, and it kind of showed at the beginning of the season. They were less than mediocre through the first 10 games, and his numbers wasn't anything that looked sexy. You know, he had a completion percentage of less than 60%. He was throwing at least one interception a game, and after week 10, I don't know what happened, but this guy went into the booth, and all we saw was Superman from that week on. He threw only one interception in 8 games, and he had a completion percentage of 70%, and he was averaging over 2 touchdowns a game over the last half of the year. He finished as a top 5 fantasy quarterback 3 times during that span, and it just seemed like these guys really gelled in the second half of the season. The offense looked almost unstoppable last year towards the end of the year. And he has everybody coming back this year with the exception of Aaron Jones, who's being replaced by Josh Jacobs. So I think this team is pretty much going to look the same as they did last year. And I really got high expectations for Jordan Love this year. My number 2 quarterback is CJ Stroud. And last year, after losing Anthony Richardson in the beginning of the year, I was really scrambling for a quarterback. At the time, I had Dak Prescott, but I didn't realize he was going to turn out to be a diamond in the rough at the quarterback position like he did. But I went out there and I picked up CJ Stroud, and boy, you talk about a really good pickup. He picked up some slack when I needed him in my lineup. He was really good as a rookie. Actually, this may have been one of the best rookie seasons I've seen from a quarterback in all my years of watching football. He just had a lot of control of the offense. The offensive line really wasn't the best. And, you know, he just took control and had a lot of moxie out there. And this year, they've added some firepower. They have Stephon Diggs, and they've upgraded at the running back position with Joe Mixon. Last year, Stroud, he finished as the number 12 quarterback, and he had 6 top 12 finishes last year as a fantasy quarterback. So he posted some solid numbers. He had a 64% completion rate, averaging 274 yards and at least 1 touchdown per game. So for a rookie, he was really steady and consistent and good. So I like him as my number 2 quarterback. But guys, the guy we've all been waiting for, the number 1 quarterback on my list is Joe, that guy Burrow. You heard me a couple of episodes ago. I really love this offense. If I can get Jamar Chase and pair him up with Joe Burrow, man, I'll be in heaven. Over the last 3 seasons, he's been one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. And he just has an uncanny way to have 2 or 3 jaw-dropping plays during the course of a game. Last year, of course, he got off to a slow start. He had that calf injury from training camp. And instead of sitting out, he came out and tried to gut it out and play. And the first 4 games, he didn't look good at all. Actually, he looked pretty bad. He should have sat out those games to let that thing fully heal. But he got better and better. It healed up, and by game 5, he became the real Joe Burrow. And from week 5 until he got hurt, he completed 74% of his passes. He was averaging 296 yards a game with 2 touchdowns a game. So a healthy Joe B presents some issues for opposing teams. They did trade away Joe Mixon, and they replaced him with Zach Moss. And to me, that indicates they may not lean on the running game, because I don't see Moss as a 3-down back. They also lost Tyler Boyd, but he really wasn't garnering a lot of targets throughout the year. So I just expect them to kind of spread those targets through Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and the new running back, Zach Moss. They also drafted a rookie, Jermaine Burton. So actually, I think he may be a slight upgrade as far as a downfield threat. as opposed to Tyler Boyd. So I don't think it's going to be any drop off in production with Mixon and Boyd being gone. This is why I plan to scoop up Joe Burrow in the 3rd or 4th round. I'm just hoping there's no run on quarterbacks. And if he falls to me in the 3rd or 4th round, I'm definitely going quarterback with that pick. If for some reason there's been a run on quarterbacks and he's gone by the time it's my pick at 3-2 and 4-1, I'll have to go to plan B and see which of these other quarterbacks are available. And I may be able to wait maybe another round or two before I actually pick another quarterback if I can't get Burrow. But I think of that list, the only person that may be available, or the only two that may be available if Burrow's not there, would be Anthony Richardson and Jordan Love. Realistically, I don't see them as a top 5 round quarterback pick. But Joe Burrow's definitely on my radar. He's a definite pick in the 3rd or 4th round. And at the number 12, he will be the anchor of my team. So guys, early in the video, I told you to put an asterisk by Kyler Murray's name, or as the number 5 quarterback. So the reason I said to put an asterisk by his name is I think there's another guy out there that has some really great potential to be a number 1 quarterback, and I would put him at number 5. The only thing is he's not proven. So it's hard to just say this guy's going to be a good pick for a quarterback 1, and he hasn't stepped onto the field as an NFL quarterback yet. And that guy is Jaylen Daniels. So I think this guy has quarterback 1 potential, but he just hasn't proven it yet. But you got to give people a chance. And just based on his numbers, he's a highlight reel. What I like about Jaylen is when he's out there on the field, he's making it happen with his legs and with his arm. If he stays healthy with his added rushing potential, he's going to be a nightmare for opposing teams. And I don't know I just thought about this, but I don't know if it's something about LSU quarterbacks, just like Joe Burrow in his last season at LSU. He had a breakout season last year. He won the Heisman Trophy, and he's the only FBS player in college history with 12,000 passing yards and 3,000 plus rushing yards. So this tells you he has the possibility to be like, let's just say Lamar Jackson 3.0. In addition to that, we also have the head coach, or the ex-head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, who coached Kyler Murray last year and his entire career, now as the offensive coordinator. And he likes to use run-pass options. So I really think that Jaylen Daniels, if he's available, like in maybe the 8th or 9th round, you guys may want to take a flyer on him. I think he's going to be special this year. But if you draft him as your number 1, I would definitely have an insurance pick. So that was my asterisk, guys. And I hope that this gave you value to pick a top-notch quarterback in your draft. And guys, I have a public service announcement. Spike that like, comment, subscribe. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba, out.